John and Nicole had been best friends since they were little. They grew up together, played together, and shared everything with each other. But as they grew older, their friendship started to change. John realized that he had feelings for Nicole that went beyond friendship, but he didn't know how to tell her. Nicole, on the other hand, had no idea about John's feelings and was struggling with her own problems. One day, John finally mustered up the courage to tell Nicole how he felt. They were sitting in their favorite spot by the lake, watching the sunset, when John turned to Nicole and said, "Nicole, there's something I need to tell you. I've been in love with you for a long time now, and I just couldn't keep it to myself anymore." Nicole was surprised, but not entirely shocked. She had always felt that there was something different about their friendship, but had never imagined that John would feel that way about her. She looked at him for a few moments, trying to process her thoughts and emotions, and then said, "John, I don't know what to say. I had no idea you felt this way." John looked at Nicole with hope in his eyes and said, "I understand if you don't feel the same way, but I needed to tell you how I feel. I value our friendship too much to keep it a secret." Nicole smiled at John and said, "John, you're my best friend, and I love you, but I'm not sure if I can see you as anything more than that." John was disappointed but not surprised. He had expected this response, but it still hurt. He nodded and said, "I understand, Nicole. I don't want to make things awkward between us, so we can forget about this and continue being friends." Nicole felt a pang of guilt as she watched John's face fall. She knew that he had been struggling with his feelings for a long time, and she felt bad for not being able to reciprocate them. She looked at John and said, "John, can we talk about this more? I need some time to think about everything." John nodded, and they sat in silence for a while, watching the sunset. When it was dark, they got up and started walking back home. The walk was silent, and John felt like he had ruined their friendship by telling Nicole how he felt. But Nicole had other plans. As they reached their street, Nicole turned to John and said, "John, can we still hang out tomorrow? I don't want this to change our friendship." John looked at Nicole, surprised and relieved. He smiled and said, "Of course, Nicole, I'd love to hang out with you tomorrow." And that's how John and Nicole's friendship continued. They hung out the next day, and the day after that, and the day after that. They talked about everything, including John's feelings for Nicole. They were open and honest with each other, and their friendship grew even stronger. Over time, Nicole started to see John in a new light. She began to notice the small things that she had overlooked before, like how he always made her laugh, how he listened to her problems, and how he was always there for her. She realized that she had been in love with him all along, but she had been too blind to see it. One day, as they were sitting by the lake, Nicole turned to John and said, "John, there's something I need to tell you. I've been thinking about it for a long time now, and I just couldn't keep it to myself anymore." John looked at Nicole, surprised, and said, "What is it, Nicole?" Nicole took a deep breath. "John, I realize now that I've been in love with you for a long time, too," Nicole said, looking at John with a mix of hope and fear in her eyes. John's face lit up, and he said, "Really, Nicole, I've been waiting for you to say that for so long." And with that, John and Nicole shared their first kiss, sealing their love for each other. They started dating and were happier than ever before. Their friendship had turned into something even more beautiful, and they both knew that they were meant to be together. Years later, as they stood by the same lake where they had shared their first kiss, John got down on one knee and said, "Nicole, we've been through so much together, and I know that you're the one for me. Will you marry me?" Nicole looked at John with tears in her eyes and said, "Yes, John, I'll marry you." And with that, John and Nicole's love story came full circle. They got married by the lake where they had fallen in love, surrounded by their closest friends and family. They lived happily ever after, knowing that their love had started as a beautiful friendship and had blossomed into a lifelong partnership filled with love and happiness.